Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have these really fun white and gold cards to share with you. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to use the gold cardstock as I would my black mat, and I'm just cutting it down to be about 1/8 of an inch shorter or smaller than my A2 base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then when I do my white panel, which is my favorite HammerMill cardstock, it will be about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the A2 base. This is just because it gives me a really nice thin layer. If you prefer a bigger one, you could of course do quarters instead of 1/8, but I like that look, so that is the direction I generally go. And of course you can always leave off the layered look as well if that's not something you enjoy. But I love it. I think that it frames the card really nicely, and it just adds a little bit of something extra to the card design. So here I'm just going to show you how thin that layering is. So again, like I said, you could make that thicker if that's something you wanted to do. Now I'm going to bust out my Tim Holtz Lumber Large 3D embossing folder. This is the first time I've used it, and it's big. It's kind of funny. I'm so used to his small embossing folders. I wouldn't say they're small, but they're not quite the size of like an A2 card front. So they feel small in comparison, but this is kind of neat. So I ran that through with all of the card fronts. I did mist my cardstock first just to make sure that there was no issues with cracking. Sometimes I forget to do that, so it's not, a make or break situation, but I do find that generally the cardstock takes the 3D embossing folder a little bit better that way. And then I'm going to bring in my Tim Holtz Candle Shop colourize dies. If these are still available, I will have them linked and listed down below for you, as I do every product that I use. They're an older die though, so they may not still be available. You just have to kind of change it out for something else as the front image, but I love this die. So I actually made a very similar card design to this about a year ago, and I had completely forgotten. So I made these cards because you guys know I'm doing my Christmas and July cards, and I made these cards and I was so excited about them, and I showed a friend of mine, and she's like, "Hey, haven't you made a card design like that before?" And I'm like, "Oh." So I went and looked through my older designs, my older cards, and I've made a card design pretty much the same as this, with a few different things that have changed. So if you've seen me make this card in the past, I hope you're okay seeing it again. I make a lot of card videos. You guys know, if you've been with me for any length of time, I make, 2 videos a week, 52 weeks a year, so I make a lot of videos. So you have to think that that's like 104 videos a year that I make. And I would say 90% of them are card designs. So the fact that it's taking me this long to recreate something really similar unintentionally is kind of cool, because you have to think that's a lot of videos. I've been on YouTube for like 5 years. So that's a lot of videos to have not recreated at this point. But this wasn't intentional. So if you've seen that video and you're like, "Ciara, this looks exactly like a card you've done before." Yeah, it does. I didn't even realize until she mentioned it. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Maybe you haven't seen that video, in which case this is like a brand new video to you, which is awesome. So I have actually made a video a card set very, very similar to these ones. So let's call this me casing my own card design unintentionally. So hopefully you guys don't mind. You can go back and watch that video if you want to. I think it was a card I did for Christmas in July in 2024. So if you go through the Christmas in July playlist, because I have one large playlist of all my Christmas in July cards, you can go and check out everything that I've done for Christmas in July over the last 5 years. I think there's pretty good variation in there. And then, of course, I also have my 12 Weeks of Christmas series that starts in October, and it works up to Christmas. So like every Monday is a Christmas card in the 12 Weeks of Christmas. So I also have playlists for those. So I have made a lot of Christmas cards in my time, and I didn't intend to make this card design twice, but it is what it is. I had already created the cards, and if you guys know, I am, of recording everything in advance because we are redoing the floors in our house. We have some trips. My husband's birthday this month. we're redoing the flooring in my office. We're going to paint the walls in my office. So I had to record early. And by the time I realized it, I wasn't recreating new cards. I'm happy with how these turned out. And hopefully you guys don't mind that it's kind of like a recreation of my cards. But I just built the candle there. You can see it. They're not difficult. There are score marks everywhere on the candle that there's an area you need to layer something. So I find them pretty easy to put together. Also, if you're struggling, look at the design on the packaging. I find a lot of times that does make sense. And on the back of the dies, it tells you what layer they are as well. So it'll say like, I think this one says tray 1, tray 2, tray 3, tray 4. So it gives you an idea of how they're supposed to go in order. And normally you would be cutting them out of different colors. I didn't. I think that it looks stunning even layered in a monochromatic look. I think it looks stunning in just white. Like you could do this candle in just red and I think it would look beautiful. Like if I had realized that I did this exact design, I would have just changed up the colors, because I could have done like a red candle and a green candle and made you guys something a little bit traditional, but I didn't. I didn't realize it until I was done. So it is what it is. And then I busted out my favorite Christmas stamp set. This is the Simon Says Stamp Christmas Blessings stamp set. And I'm going to use the dies as well because I do own both. I do find owning the dies of something that you love is always a great idea. Oh, and this is fun. So Aqua was just trying to steal candles off my desk because she likes to steal papers. Az is going to walk right across my desk. And if you're watching the bottom right corner, you see that container of embossing powder. Yeah, it just hit the floor. I just knocked it with my elbow as walked across in front of me. And now you can see there's nothing in it. Yep, because it's all over my floor. So there went, like a third of a dish of my favorite gold embossing powder. That was really sad. I was pretty bummed about that. What do you do? I mean, it happened. It's not a big deal. It's just embossing powder, but I was pretty bummed about it because this is my favorite color of gold. And right now with, the tariffs and all the stuff, I really am trying not to order anything from the States. So I was a little bummed that hit the floor. So I guess I'll wait until Stamptember when I hopefully see a Tim Holtz design and I get to purchase it, and then I'll just buy a new little container of it. But yeah, I was really bummed that hit the floor. But again, what do you do? I mean, it happens. And so I stamped all of these out. I'm gonna see there, a candle just went away again. The Aqua just tried to steal candles again. I'm gonna run these through my die cutting machine with the matching die, and I've cut all 4 out. I didn't show it to you guys. I actually left this specific clip in because here comes Az again. I try to leave the cat clips in because I know you guys like to see them. So if you're ever wondering why a clip seems long or kind of weird, it's because a cat's gonna show up. That's generally why I don't cut them out. I know how much you guys like to see my kitties, so I do like to leave them in as much as I can, and he just really wanted to help. If you watched my August bullet journal video that just came up, he is in that video so much. He's like on the desk as I'm trying to draw in the journal, and he's laying across it. Like, it was so cute. So of course I left all those clips in for you guys to check out, just because my kittens are all my cats are super adorable, but the kittens are just really involved in what I'm up to. Whereas my older cats now, they kind of they'll lay on the desk and stare. They don't really get in the video as much. But the kittens, they want to be a part of everything. So I do try to leave those clips in because they're super cute. And if you ever see stuff shifting on my desk, it's because they're laying against my glass mat. Like every once in a while, you'll notice that like the card bases that usually sit up in the top right corner are shifting around. It's because Aqua's laying there usually. I have got a bigger desk now, and so they have more room to just lay on it, and it's so cute. But anyway, so you saw me run those through my switch. I cut out all of my sentiments with the matching die, and then I'm going to start pretty much adhering everything here. I'm loving this lumber background. What a cool texture to add. I did kind of intentionally try to get the knots of the die, in the embossing folder, because there's so much real estate there, right? Because it's such a big embossing folder. I want to call it a die every time. I don't know why. It's such a large embossing folder, so you get these kind of different textures. You can grab the knots. You can just grab something that looks more like planks. It's kind of a cool thing. So I'm actually now pondering buying a couple of the other larger ones, just because I think that's really neat that you get to it's like choose your own adventure with an embossing folder, because you can pick different areas and get different textures, which I think is pretty cool. So I might have to ponder buying. I only got this one because I didn't really feel like I needed some of the other ones. I had smaller versions of them, but I might have to ponder it now that I've used this one and I really enjoyed it. So I am sticking these underneath my base from my switch, you know, the part that goes my sandwich, just to make sure they adhere nicely. Because I misted them with water, they are they want to lift up a little and the glue's having a harder time grabbing. So I just set them underneath my sandwich for my switch to make sure that they actually adhered well to the background. And then now I'm going to just start adhering all of the candles to the little plates as well, or the little dishes, just, you know, to make sure they are aligned exactly how I want them to. And then that's going to be how I adhere them to the card base once we get to that step. I think these turned out really great. I'm pretty excited about them. I'm not going to apologize again, because I know every time I apologize for something, there's always somebody in the comments who's like, you don't need to apologize. It's fine. And you're right. It's just one of those things where I try to bring you guys new inspiration, or at least a different idea, whereas this is kind of the same idea. It's slightly different, but it's mostly the same idea. So I kind of feel a little bit bad that it's not new inspiration, but they still turned out beautiful. I'm really happy with them. And the 3D embossing folder is completely different. You know, I didn't do that last time, and I didn't die cut the sentiments. So there's a few changes in these. But I am busting out my favoriteest Nuvo Deluxe glue and adhering these down to the folded card bases. And I usually get questions as to why I don't cut the center of my mat out to save the gold cardstock. That's just a personal preference. You absolutely can if you want to. I find the gold cardstock mars really easily, so I don't like to do that. But you absolutely can if you're trying to save on the cardstock. It's just a personal preference. No right or wrong there. You need to do what makes you happy. As Tim Holtz always says, you do you. So that's just kind of why I do that. But I usually get questions about it, so I thought I would just address it so you had no issues there. So I want to quickly thank my members. You guys are phenomenal. I really appreciate you. You make it possible for me to make all the free content. So I greatly appreciate everything that you're doing for me and my dreams. So thank you so much. And if you aren't a subscriber of the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoy my content, that's kind of what signals to YouTube that my content has value, that they should push it out to other people, that it's enjoyable. So if you like my content, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing, you know, leaving a like, leaving a comment, all that stuff, kind of all the interactions tell YouTube that, you know, this is adding value, this is interesting, this is fun to watch, whatever they, you know, rate it as, so that they kind of push it out to new people so that they have a chance to see it. And then that gives it the chance to grow. So I have the dream of hitting 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't know how achievable that is, but that's what I'm hoping to go for. So if you aren't subscribed and you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you back and enjoying all the content, especially through Christmas. And then of course, like I said, I have a bunch of stuff coming up. I would like to add art journaling content to my channel. I asked you guys in my bullet journal video if that was something you might be interested in seeing. It would be similar to Vicky Papineau's art journaling. Not the same. I'm not going to, you know, take her ideas or anything, but it would be similar videos to that, like where you're doing spreads in a journal, you know, that kind of stuff with different products from companies. Like I've been collecting some really fun collections I think would make beautiful art journaling. So I just thought that might be a really fun kind of series to add to the channel, but I want to check with you guys because I do want you to enjoy the content that I'm providing. You know, I want it to inspire you, or you know, make you feel like you can create it, or just make you feel happy to come hang out with me, you know. So that's kind of always my goal with my channel, is to inspire people to create regardless of their level, because I do have a lot of people say like, oh, I can never create that, and you absolutely can. You absolutely can. And if you think you can't, you send me a message and we figure out how to break it down so it works in a way that works for you. I am pretty easy to get a hold of. I answer every comment you leave in a video. Sometimes emails end up in my junk folder and I have to go and like chase them around. So if you've sent me an email and I haven't responded, leave me a comment. Just because, yeah, they it's really funny how they decide what's junk and what's not. Because I end up with a lot of emails in my email that are junk that go through, and then stuff that shouldn't be ends up in the junk folder. It's really irritating. So if you've ever sent me an email and I didn't respond to you, it's likely because I didn't see it and it went in my junk. So you just send me a message on here, because I do respond to all of my comments, and then I can go looking for it and I can send you a response to whatever you might have asked or whatever you were telling me about or showing me. But yeah, so I am pretty easy to get a hold of if you guys ever want to, chat with me. I do have a Facebook group that I'm really active in as well. I do monthly challenges. Like right now we're doing Christmas in July, and at the end of the month I pick a person who, I randomly pick a name of everybody who entered, and they get a handmade gift from me in the mail. So it's kind of fun, but I'm easy to get a hold of. So if you ever want to share your makes or chat, or you need help figuring out how to make something work, you reach out to me, because I am I'm here. You always come get some help from me if you need it. So that is the cards I have for you guys today. You see that I did bring in my clear glitter pen. It doesn't pick up well in video, but in person it's stunning. And I just added it to all the melted wax of the candle. I thought that looked really cool. And then of course I did have to add a couple of gems to my cards, just because it's me and I love bling. And I think Christmas cards can just take all the shimmer and shine, because I think it's really pretty. So that is the card set I have for you guys today. I hope you don't mind. It was kind of a repeat. I don't know. I'm happy with them. It's okay. It doesn't happen very often that I do that, so hopefully you guys don't mind. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.